Hello, Frankie. Oh my god, I wish streaming wasn't a disaster. You know what though? It was a good decision that we're choosing to stream the character reveal on Discord and not on a YouTube live stream for my thing. That would have been a disaster. Where is everyone else? Calm down, Quinley. Mama will be back soon. Sorry, my dog is throwing a little fit because my mom went to the store to pick up some medicine, and he doesn't like it when she's gone. How many people are here exactly? Um, it wants me to use a bit rate of 2,500. That sucks. I'll do that later. Let me ping eggs. Get him in here. Un momento. There, now hopefully that will let it run better. So Frankie's here. Eggs, are you here? Crap. This stream might be a bust. Oh, hey, eggs. Finally here. Sweet. Um, well, I guess two people is about as good as we're gonna get. Let me switch the stream over to my channel. Wow, that is a long delay. Alright, is that showing up on the stream? Is it showing y'all this Discord channel? Alright, sweet. So, I'm gonna walk y'all through this real quick, as fast as I can, but also explaining a decent fair bit. So, I'm working on a game project. It's currently only in concept phase, and I still have a lot to learn about game development. But I'm working on a game concept under the working title of Hades, which is an acronym. It is a first-person shooter, co-op, which I am hoping to put some fighting game elements in. At least that's how I try to describe it. And what I mean by that is, like say you're using a controller, like let's say an Xbox controller. X, A, and B would be different types of attacks. So let's say you're playing this character here, Ruby Trench. Stream finally catch up? Alright, so let's say you're playing as Ruby Trench here, who I'll get into later. Let's say you use your B button. That would send out a wave, like a beam that could hit long-range targets. I'll get into that later. So, this game is set in an alternate universe, far in the future, like the 2300s. And it's meant to have a style that mixes old and new depictions of almost everything. And if you can see here, it's got a diesel punk style with like the German-looking soldiers. It is a horde shooter, and that is because on this planet, there exists dinosaurs on this planet, which the people who colonized it used to work like a horse. So T-Rex here was used for moving shipping containers onto big cargo ships. This dinosaur was used for logging. And this dinosaur was used for races. And this one down here used for fishing. Now, the people who discovered this planet lived on here for about a century or so. 80 to a century. And now you might be thinking, how did they use the dinosaurs here? Why wouldn't the dinosaurs just attack them? Well, they created a man-made mecha virus that would go into the water supply. And basically, once it got into the bloodstream of the dinosaurs, it would make its way up to this brain and make them docile to humans. So, they basically use them pretty much everywhere. Now, fast forward about a century, and something goes wrong, and the dinosaurs start mutating and have become incredibly violent towards humans. This has become such a big issue that they call on this private military called Hades, Hazardous Asset Detainment and Extraction Soldiers, to come help them. And for a while, they do genuinely try and help. They're there, they're trying to help clear out dinosaurs, keep civilians safe, and hopefully develop a cure that's making all the dinosaurs go haywire. Eventually, though, the Hades soldiers learn that the virus is spreading to humans, it's starting to mutate them and turn them violent. So, eventually, an order is given from the higher ups of Hades to just start genociding the population, wipe them all out, so that way the virus can't spread to the rest of the galaxy. Now, of course, the civilians do not like this. So let's run over here to one of our protagonists. This is Luke. He is a police officer with prosthetic arms that have basically function as a shotgun. So he is moved to this logging town, which he is told because he has a high tendency for violence. What it's actually is because is that his brain is slowly degrading. He's losing his intelligence, and eventually he's going to start losing his memory. And he's kind of super depressed about that. His sister Mickey, who is getting a major redesign, moves there with him. But she used to be a scientist and an archaeologist that's whole goal was meant to discovering the ancient race that used to reside on the planet they're on, which I'll get into later. But basically, those people the ancient race was dinosaur people, which sounds silly, but I swear I have an explanation for it. And she experimented on it, and she tried to recreate their system of how they turned themselves from normal humans into the dinosaur people. It mutated in her, though, and caused two things to happen. A, let me grab it here. I wrote it here. A, it rapidly sped up her body's consumption of vitamin B12, which is the vitamin you get from consuming meat. And also, it gave her the prey drive of a carnivorous dinosaur. So basically, she now actively needs to hunt and kill stuff to eat and survive. And actively, she goes with Luke, so she can keep other people safe, and she becomes a free runner, so she can go out in the forest. And while it looks like she's just doing it because she thinks it's fun, she's really doing it just so she can hunt local wildlife and kill and eat those instead of humans. So they're in this logging town, and now rewind about around the time Hades got there, right? There's a guy. Let me pull up the art of him real quick. Let me post this here. Where the heck's the channel? There it is. Still uploading. Hold on. There it is. So there's this guy. His name is Seven, which is the name that was given to him. When Hades got there, a few of the higher-ups, including the leader of Hades, who just goes by the Captain, begins trying to recreate the ancient race of dinosaur people that used to live on that planet, which were called ceratopsians. The ceratopsians were a race of people that, along with their co-race, the Tyranites, attempted to live their lives like dinosaurs that they idolized. The ceratopsians idolized the Triceratops for its bodily weapons and raw power. So over the years, they began to change their bodies like their idol, which included growing chainsaws out of their arms, which was their own version of weapons being in their body. Now Hades when they got back to that planet, they took someone from that planet and they turned them into the first modern Ceratopsin. This Ceratopsin was named Seven. Now, when he woke up on that operating table, he was not the happiest that he went from a human to someone with chainsaws coming out of his arms. So, he broke out and escaped. Now, let's go back here. By the way, if you couldn't tell, his design takes a lot of inspiration from Dragon and Stall Soul. Let's see. Now, remember that race I was talking about? The Tyranites? The co-race to the Ceratopsians? They idolize the Tyrannosaurus for its raw but humble power. They, instead of a normal government like the Ceratopsians did, they developed a kingdom. Which does mean swords and axes and that kind of thing. But this was like top-notch stuff using dark matter. So like their swords had like big lasers in them and crap. So there's this knight from that old race named Ruby Trench. She is about to go under the transformation process to become a full Tyrannite, which is all the dinosaur-like features. But while that's happening, the king and the rest of the race decide that they're going to go to an unaffiliated planet, conquer that race, just so they can help provide for their race. Now, Ruby and a very few amount of other Tyranites think this is a betrayal of their code, which was, don't take from other people. Like, only make of what you have of your own. So Ruby calls on Hades. This is like centuries before, right? So Ruby calls on Hades to come stop their race, basically. And Hades wholeheartedly agrees that conquering another planet just so you can like save yourself is a big no-no. So they take over a bunch of stuff over the planet, and eventually they get to the castle where Ruby fights the king, and after taking a weapon that's like really powerful called the Tyrant's Maw, she basically uses it, and she decides that it's time for Tyranites to come to an end, and like if they don't, they'll just find another way to hurt another race. So she uses the Tyrant's Maw, which unleashes a giant dark matter gamma ray, which atomizes the king and puts a giant crack through the planet, which was on a separate planet that was orbiting around the planet the game takes place on. Now, Ruby Trench, because she has a mask that allowed her to breathe without oxygen, she is the only Tyrannite left in the universe. Everyone else died because, you shoot a giant crack into a planet, the atmosphere, like, leaves. So, Hades promises her a place to live and a high rank in their army, which she goes to and stays in for about over 100 years. Now, fast forward to the main events of the game. Start of the game. Seven has escaped, and Hades is telling her that he is a terrorist that's been like assaulting Hades soldiers. So she sent after him to capture him and bring him back. Now, lo and behold, Seven is hiding in the logging town that Luke and Mickey were in, and Ruby tracks them there. Now they're all in the same place. The dinosaurs start attacking people, and they find out that Hades has been killing people in their sleep. So they have to fight through the logging town to basically get out and find out what's happening. That's the setup. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much, because there's still a lot in development. But basically, this is what the Hades soldiers look like. They're heavily based off German soldiers, which for the drip of, I love so much. If you couldn't tell, I was a big fan of Wolfenstein. Now, I'm sure you, specifically you, Frankie, saw this guy. This is a very, very important part of the story, the game, and he is also the main horror element of the game. So, do you all know what a deserter is in an army? I'm assuming you do. Well, a deserter is someone who tries to, like, basically, like, leave the army, so, like, they can, like, save their own necks or whatever. This guy, who doesn't have a name, and the Hades soldiers themselves are just resorted to calling Boogeyman, is a person who is 14 feet tall, has chainsaws mounted on his arms, has arms that are super lanky and almost drag on the ground, and has goggles that have a big red light that shines out like a spotlight. He is sent out to recover deserters, and when he finds them, they are never seen again. They don't even find a body. He doesn't speak, and he just walks at you unless you try to attack him, in which he moves at lightning speeds. He's kind of like Mr. X from, what's it called? Resident Evil. That is one of the big inspirations for him. Now, eventually, Ruby's helping the main group kill Hades soldiers because they're trying to kill them. Because, you know, two of them are civilians, and one's someone who was a broken out experiment, and Ruby is now considered a traitor. And being a traitor, Boogeyman is now sent after all four of them. So over the course of and he's introduced in a segment that is really supposed to integrate the horror aspect of him. Basically, for the rest of the game, after he's introduced, he's gonna randomly, at some points, he's gonna hunt you down, and you can't damage him. You can't attack him. You can't damage him. You have to try and you have to try and get out and beat the stage, or else he's gonna kill you. Like, and he does like over half your health in like seconds, like a single hit. Let's see here. What else did I want to talk about? I'm sorry. I haven't explained this to someone who hasn't heard of the project before. I'm so used to like all my friends here keeping up with it. I think that's really it. Oh, thing to note, Ruby here and Luke have a thing going on over the course of the game. Oh, right, moves. I need to talk about that. So, when this game comes out in like 10 to 20 years, I think you'll probably gravitate towards Luke, Frankie. He's meant to be a mix of a grappler and a counter character. So, basically, how his moves work is he can grab people and he can hit them on the ground, which creates a big AoE, area of effect, which can wipe out hordes or groups of enemies. He also has an attack where he punches the air with his fist up, and if it hits something, it does big damage. If it hits something while it's trying to melee attack, it does 3 separate hits that sends out an AoE shockwave, and also starts dropping a little bit of health. That really sounds like your type of character, Frankie. Mickey... Mickey, again, she's gonna get a redesign. Mickey is she's a tricky one. My friend Ian was saying how she could probably be used as a medic because she's gonna run up and grab, she's gonna run up and like take a bite out of someone. Quinley. Um, so that was an idea. What, Grandma? No. This is Seven's outdated design. Seven is basically used a bit as a is basically meant to be used as a horde clear. Like all up in your face, he's gonna take him out. He's gonna shred him. I mean, he probably is with chainsaws on your arms. Uh, let's see what else here. Um, and Ruby's meant to be your designated long ranger. Now, something to note: every single character you can play as has a transformation super. Basically, they have a dragon install. This gives them massive melee damage buff. They get a massive speed buff, and they have their own theme play. This is a rare thing that doesn't happen often, just because of how overpowered it will be. So you won't see it happen often. But when it does, you'll know. Um, if you haven't noticed, the designs of the dinosaurs are meant to be a cross between old retro designs and modern designs. But I doubt a lot of you would get that because you're not dinosaur nerds like me. Well, that's really all I wanted to bring up. Unless y'all have any questions, that is. Um, I'll have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, actually, let me check. When's the freaking IGN thing? Okay, we have an hour. So, I think everyone just stopped watching. Um, could I get a blip? Anyone still here? I see. Oh well. Not much you can do about it, I guess.
Ah, I bid you welcome. Shall we begin?